Hi folks, I'm Steve Hindy for Showing Animals Respect and Kindness. The Cheyenne Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming is an annual festival that includes a 10-day long rodeo. The CFD rodeo is, in the experience of shark investigators, the most brutally cruel rodeo in the world. It was therefore ironic that the Cheyenne Frontier Days rodeo dedicated July 22, 2014 to taking a stand against domestic violence by partnering with an Idaho-based organization called the ManUp Crusade. The ManUp Crusade asked everyone at the rodeo to wear purple clothing to demonstrate opposition to domestic violence.
Program, what are you trying to do? What's your mission?
The first important part is creating a public awareness campaign that the issue exists. It's a massive issue, and we need to start talking about it. That's the very first part of the vision.
All right, we'll be tomorrow.
According to the ManUp Crusade website, the display of purple, quote, shows support for victims and advocates and conveys a powerful message that there is no place for domestic violence in a community, unquote. You'd think that an organization truly opposed to domestic violence would also be opposed to violence against animals, because as modern law enforcement and the American Psychiatric Association has known for years, there is a clear connection between violence to animals and violence to people. This video makes that connection in a much more direct way. On July 25 and 26, 2014, the Cheyenne Rodeo allowed Zeb Lam of Sweet, Idaho to compete in the bull riding event. On November 3, 2008, Lanham was arrested and charged with felony domestic battery after an incident wherein he severely beat his then pregnant girlfriend, Kimberly Butler, with whom he already shared a young child. The following is an excerpt from the November 14, 2008 Argus Observer newspaper. Quote, Lanham was reported to have caused great bodily harm with traumatic injury on Butler's face, according to the police report. She was later transported by Life Flight Air Ambulance to a Boise area hospital for treatment of her injuries. Those injuries included a broken cheekbone and swelling that was apparently putting pressure on her brain, according to the police report. Lanham pled guilty and was sentenced on April 16, 2009. He served little time. After completing a rehabilitation and education program, he was released on October 15, 2009. His probation period ended in October 2014. Not only did Lanham compete in the bull riding competition during the 2014 CFD, while he was still on probation, but he walked away with $218.13 in prize money. Remember, the ManUp Crusade's website claims the organization, quote, shows support for victims and advocates and conveys a powerful message that there is no place for domestic violence in the community, unquote. CFD let a known domestic abuser on probation compete and walk away with money in his pocket. Additionally, Lanham rode in the 2014 California Rodeo in Salinas, California. And guess what? The ManUp Crusade was there as well. Digging a little deeper, we found that Zeb Lam has been competing in rodeos in Cheyenne and Salinas and others sanctioned by the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association and at the Calgary Stampede Rodeo in Canada for years. We agree with the ManUp Crusade's stated mission to stand against domestic violence, but we question how that mission has any validity when the organization partners with rodeos that include convicted domestic abusers. Beside the convicted domestic abusers, and besides the animal abuse that goes on at these rodeos, shark investigators have been accosted at the Cheyenne Rodeo. The harassment and violence against shark investigators has gone on for years in Cheyenne, and not a single assailant has ever been held responsible. Domestic violence is a very serious issue. The question is whether the ManUp Crusade is serious about combating domestic violence. As for the rodeo industry, any claim of being opposed to domestic violence is just another public relations scam. Zeb Lam is proof of that. I'm Steve Hindy for Showing Animals Respect and Kindness.